guys, welcome to another Coturnix Corner Live. Hope you guys are all doing well. I see we got quite a few people over in the chat room already. That's great. Today, guys, we're going to be covering a topic that may be a little bit controversial to some, but after looking at the data, I thought it would be of interest to all who keep Celadons to kind of hear what we're going to present to you today. And so anyhow, with me today is Klaus from Paradise Quail, and he is joining us tonight from the Netherlands, where it is, I believe, 1 a.m. in the morning there. Welcome, Klaus, and thanks for joining us and staying up so late.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Absolutely. Guys, Klaus has done a good amount of research and testing, recording data, talking with breeders from all over the globe about some potential issues that can arise when breeding multiple generations of Celadon gene carriers. And he's put together a really nice presentation that we're going to share with you tonight. All I ask is that you guys review the data, listen to what Klaus has to say, ask your questions before making up your mind either way. This is in no way meant to cause controversy in the quail world, although some have already expressed their feelings and took it as a personal attack on them, which it is not. We will be taking your questions later on, so as always, if you would type the letter Q in front of your questions, it just helps me find them a little bit easier. I do have a couple quick announcements. First off, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Hatching Time and Southwest Game Birds. Southwest Game Birds is offering a 10% discount off of any order on their website if you use the coupon code Coturnix Corner during checkout. And their website is southwestgamebirds.com. And Hatching Time has donated another $50 gift certificate, which we will be giving away tonight. But anyhow, yeah, check out hatchingtime.com. Guys, they got a bunch of poultry-related stuff. They've got quail cages, incubators, pluckers, and whatnot. So they've got quite a bit of stuff over there. So check them out. Also, one lucky winner is going to receive a Coturnix Corner coffee cup, obviously from Coturnix Corner. And again, stick around to the end of the night to see if you guys may have won that. I also wanted to say thank you to Matt Heidrich of Quail Farm. Matt sent me this nice little hat with his logo and everything on it, and I believe on one side it says Quail. I think it's this side. But Matt's a great guy. He sells hatching eggs online, egg trays, hats, other little things. I've got eggs from Matt in the past. He's got fast shipping, great hatch rates. So check him out, Quail Farm over on Facebook, or if you're a member of the Coturnix Corner group, do a search for Matt Heidrich and you can find him there. Now is something that I want to say that I wasn't going to, but at this point is normally when I thank our moderators. But as of today, we no longer have any moderators on Coturnix Corner. I received a message this morning from one of our last moderators saying that she could no longer act as a moderator either on the Coturnix Corner Facebook group or here on YouTube, and that she was leaving the quail world altogether. She was an admin on another group, and that group's admin felt it necessary to remove her as an admin and also delete her from the group. Why? Because she's associated with me and Coturnix Corner. I find it pathetic that she was put into a position where she had to choose which group she wanted to be a member of, and she did choose. She decided she wasn't going to be a member of any of them, so she completely, quit all the groups and left everything as far as the Facebook is concerned. The toxicity of a few people that felt butthurt because they were called out and decided to take it out on anyone who associates with Coturnix Corner, I think it's childish. It's irresponsible. It's downright bullying. To do something like this to someone that they once called a friend, is Coturnix Corner that big of a threat that you need to threaten your own members with deleting? I don't get it. Um, but anyhow, if you got a problem with me, take it up with me. Delete me from your groups. Tell lies about me, whatever you want. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So I did text some of the people that were involved against my better judgment and kind of voiced my opinion to them. I also went into the Facebook group page and announced that anybody that comes there starting drama or I can't remember what else I said, but starting drama or plays advocate to the devil, they're going to be removed from the group. I don't want it over there. If you don't want to be in the group, fine, leave. If you'd rather just be a exclusive member of another group, that's fine with me too. It doesn't really bother me. So now that I went and ruined the mood, Klaus, I'm going to ask you to step in and hopefully lighten it up again. And guys, I appreciate it. I don't like doing rants, but this one I felt had to be put out there because I was totally pissed off about it. So Klaus, go ahead and take it away, buddy.
Yes, thank you very much. So, hello everyone. Welcome to this live stream. For those that don't know me, my name is Klaus, and I'm from Paradise Quail from Netherlands. And I came here to talk about the breeding issues, the Celadon, and what you can probably be dealing with as well, or maybe you are questioning yourself what you are doing wrong, maybe you are doing everything correct. I would like to also say something. Do not, it, it's just not worth it to create the drama. I mean, being in a group about the Klaus, it should be about breeding, about helping, about sharing information and experience with others, not to shade them, not to try to steal their customers or trying to do their business down. It's just not worth it. And also, the point of this video, it was not to declare war or whatever, not by far. My point was to kind of write down what I think is necessary for people that are breeding or they are currently having celadons or they are thinking about them or they maybe are done with them and they went through the same steps that I've been through, and then maybe they can use those data or notes, shall we say, or informations, and then use them and then maybe add something more and then pass it to another breeder. So then in the end, maybe we can figure out what that Celadon actually is, if it's a disease, if it's a gene or whatever. So I would like to ask you to act more professional as a breeder because that's not a television, and I think the attention seekers and the spotlight seekers and drama queens may have some spotlights, but it will be gone very soon, and I don't know what those people are going to do. That's what I wanted to say. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I would like to clarify some things before you will start with the slides. I've
Okay.
started originally with five completely different bloodlines of Celadons. Um, I've had one flock or hatching eggs from a Netherlands breeder, and that I must say it was high quality. Then I've got from two others. I'm not gonna mention the country because I was not satisfied at all. And both three of them, actually, what happened was I've got a diversity of mutations, so 10, 15, maybe 20. Some of them will also carry something recessive. So that's what I was trying to do to create colorize groups. So let's say selecting breeding. So I was trying to create pharaohs and then extended brown and then so on and on. But then I will explain later. I've got some issues about those two breeders, so I've contacted one British breeder. She was into this more than 10 years. She did send me pharaohs that I still have. They're amazing. And then I've contacted for extended brown only, so Rosetta and Tibetans. my now friend. She's from Russia, that I can mention, and she is in Celadon couple of decades, so she knows what she's talking about. And what I also want to say that everything that I'm gonna share with you, I've tested. There are no lies. I don't tend to lie because I don't see the reason why should I. And also, I'm gonna speak on behalf of some other breeders. I'm not gonna mention them, but they've I've been in a contact with them for a couple of weeks. Last weeks, there were more than 50 Celadon breeders. Some are not well known because they don't have internet, for example, or they're not in the groups on the Facebook. And they pretty much confirmed everything that I'm trying to share you. But they are sure that it's not the only way. There is another way, another option maybe to keep them healthy, maybe to keep them in a different way with no deformities on the body or on the eggs. So this is not the information, the kind of information you shall consider like, okay, this is it. We are not gonna continue with a Celadon. No. What I'm giving you are informations and you can or take it or leave it. It's up to you how you're gonna use them. That's what I wanted to say because I didn't want to cause more drama, more people to leave. It's people were saying that I'm too brave to come with this topic live to talk about and to answer the question. I feel like I've been there, so I know what some people may be going through now. And I can imagine that some people are going to feel like they don't want to go out from bed anymore. I've been there as well. So I hope that those information are going to be helpful in an educational way. And I think that's it. I think we can go to first slide, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, so wait, I need to a little bit adapt my screen so I can read. So what I've done, I've made a couple of slides of the basic mutations so you can know usually what to expect. Now, this is what was happening here at Paradise Quail. You may see it generation earlier, later, two, three. It's up to your flock. It's very difficult. How are you breeding? But what I was doing here when I was trying to separate Celadons from all those groups, before I ordered the Pharaohs from the England. So I figured out that the first cross, when I crossed my Pharaohs, I didn't have any problems. The eggs were fine, the body, the shape, everything was fine. There was no deformity on the chicks, on eggs, nothing, and the hatching rate was actually normal, pretty normal. Everything starting to be happening after generation two. So you can see what I seen on the offspring of the chick of the second generation, and there was a lot of crossbeaks. There was a lot of deformed feeds. Usually you get curved feed when you are incubating eggs in a high humidity conditions. I didn't, so I blame it on something on genetic or whatever it was. And then I've seen that they became pretty much and pretty quick small birds. And later you will see the long necks chicks. I included one photo of one. It was happening on Pharaohs and on Rosetta. I don't know why. Then I moved to the third third generation, and there were started egg issues almost on every mutation. So I've seen soft shells, weird shapes, not closed properly, no polish, like you could like scratch something with the egg. It was like the paper that you are trying to make softer of wood or something. And they were so soft that you could squeeze them in between the fingers, but they were still nice blue color, no speckles, nothing. And generation four, I so that the eggs shell were kind of the normal-ish, here and there always some deformity, but um, the the shape was kind of like I've started to see in this particular mutation a lot of weird shaped eggs, and the color was also very light. I couldn't see blue egg anymore. They were more like yellowish, white, or something in between. And then the last generation, the fifth, they're in a brooder. They are more than 1 week now, so I will see what's gonna happen there. But I can say that the hatch rate was completely very bad. From 32 eggs, hatched 11 chicks, 10 pharaohs, 1 Egyptian, and I must say that the 1 Egyptian ended up with a rhino egg. So I don't know. I will explain later that there may be also some raw fin or whatever. It's just what I think. So uh, if you look at the picture, that was I can see. I think that's the one with the leg. I can see because I see myself there. But that chick was one of the smallest one. I think that one didn't have any deformities at all. She was just small. So this is a chick that was almost 4 weeks old. So you can see what was happening there. If you can go to another slide. So Egyptians, um, I think they're one of the most beautiful mutations and more workable with. Um, you can see that pretty much on the first generation, none of them had the issues, but everything started here. Also in the second generation, the same Rhinex, egg were not closed, but with Egyptians and everything with rule on it, I've seen that the eggshells were too thick. So I've seen it that I had to use more pressure a little bit with shares, and it was difficult to handle them. They were like too thick. The third generation, I had Rhineck on all of the rooster, and since then, I can hatch out rooster that has no deformity. So every Egyptian rooster has some deformity, or is too small, or has very bad Rhineck, so I need to call it in the first days, or has some deformity with legs or whatever. So I did put there now my Scarlet Rooster in order to get some Egyptian, and maybe he will help. I don't know. But really, I couldn't. And I didn't include the fourth generation there because it was pretty much the same. Some hens had also some deformities. And what I've seen also was that in the homozygous sparkly form of this Egyptian version, I've seen that they were very slow in the growth, like they were very teeny tiny. When the other siblings were 2 weeks, it looks like it was 5 weeks, 5 days old. So it was almost like 2 weeks in the growth difference. So then I also realized that a couple of my hens had flopped wings that you can see also on a picture. She was one of three. They were walking that way, so I had to call them. But I must say they are still one of my best layers. They're laying constantly. The only problem is that the eggs are no longer usable because you kind of can't incubate them. You can't do anything with them. You can't even eat them because it's questionable if you should or not. If you can go to another page, here I included Rosetta and Tibetan together because that makes sense. Uh, I'm gonna start with the picture. That's what I've mentioned by the pharaoh. So you can see how long or longer neck the chick has. And the egg was kind of also like deformed and a little bit bigger. So it was more like oval shaped than rounded. And I'm pretty much sure that it was also blind because when it was walking everywhere, always against the walls. This was from the second generation, from those two breeders that I was not satisfied. I was trying to breed out the extended brown. And you can see when I'm sorry, when I crossed the first generation. A lot of them had a fee and a dotted white, but no issue. So I was kind of checking what they are carrying us in a recessive way. The second generation, though, I've seen a lot of aggression, and I wrote it down that they killed my rooster. Actually, I've got from the Celadon group from Netherlands one scarlet rooster, so I wanted to recreate more rule, and I tried to put my scarlet rooster to my Roseras and Tibetans, and in a couple of hours they just scalped him to death. So I remember I was so angry and upset, so I butchered all of Extended Brown, and that's where it ended. And then I've got the new bloodline from the Russia, and you can see that the first two generation there was nothing, no issues whatsoever. Usually, in the second something popped out, but then the third generation, almost all of them had a wry neck and crossed beaks, and I had to hatch two, three times the same in order to get five healthy hens. I picked six. They were like normal-ish, I don't know. But then I figure out later on now that one is the bottom side of the beak is growing a little bit faster. So I will have to reconsider what I'm gonna do with them as well. And then the fourth generation, that is in testing. I've planned to test them, but I decided to not do so because I'm no longer going to continue in the Celadon project. That's why. But I must say they are the only one that didn't have that much deformities on X, and they are also one of the good layers here. If you can go to another slide. Italians, those are my fresh-ish project. I've turned them actually into the Celadon. It took me almost 8 months, 9. So what I did, I used my homozygous Celadon Pharaoh rooster. He was sparkly, and I crossed him with my blues and with my fawn. And I must say, if I was hatching the plain Italians, I had very high hatch rate. I had like from 70, 80 eggs, maybe 3 loss, and the rest went to the lockdown and hatch out, actually. When I crossed them to Celadon to get first generation that was recessive to Celadon, I started immediately see crossbeak and right necks. Like, there was a lot. I ended up with 15. They were like, okay. So I don't know, but I think I'm suspecting the introduction of Celadon to the phone, because this phone there is no way that there was a Celadon in them. The second generation, when I crossed that offspring back to the father in order to get homozygous Celadon, so true blue, then I started to see the size difference. You can see on the photo that's that's a sparkly blue heterozygous sparkly blue Italian rooster. And at that point, when I was holding him, he was 5 weeks old. At 3 and 4 weeks, I was making a photo of him as well, of the siblings as well, and he wasn't bigger at all, not noticeably. Then I have seen now that I have four Italian hens. They are true blue, but their eggs are not nice. I'm still waiting if it's gonna get better or not, but they have kind of no polish on it, so they are kind of dry, if you know what I mean. If you touch them, they're like not nice, not polished, and they are having also weird shape. They are not kind of the symmetric. But I have there two recessive hens. One is a heterozygous sparkly fawn, Italian, and another one is the same but with blue on it. And they both are or recessive or non, and they are laying nice big eggs, healthy, no issues, nothing. If you can move to another one. So, Scarlet and Red Range. This is very painful to talk about them because people they know me, they know that I love this mutation. Um, on in a picture, you can see that there is one hen that had kind of the head deformity. You can see that there is something going on, and her beak is also a little bit wider and shorter. The rest of the body is fine. So that's also what I was getting. I'm pretty sure she's not fifth generation, but generation number six, because I remember I forgot to include them. I didn't write it down. The first two generations, I haven't noticed anything. I used actually extended brown from Russia, and then I had to cross couple of rooster that had recessive rule to get the rule, and then I crossed them to my extended brown in order to get Scarlet and Egyptian and Red Range. And everything I started to see on the generation 3 and 4. So right neck, cross beaks, the same, like on the others. And I started to see on the fourth generation bed size of birds. And you will see I've included two pictures when you can see it clearly. And there also I've seen some legs problems. And in particular, everything that was raw diluted, I've seen some size problems only. And the fifth generation, yeah, the head deformity, but that's wrong. That's generation number 6. I'm sorry. And but on the fifth, it's correct that they also refused to lay a blue egg. They were usually white or yellowish, but the sixth, and she also, the particular hen, and her other sisters, uh, only one is laying blue, another one is laying yellow, another white, and two are laying speckle egg. One is bright speckles, and another one is completely dark. So I think the completely dark may completely lose the Celadon gene. But I must say they are whatever happen or will happen or whatever I'm gonna say, they are the best layers you can ever have. Red Range and Scarlet. And I've never seen actually problem with a deformity or different shape on their eggs. So eggs were still fine, only the color was a little bit in a range collection. If you can go to another picture, mm, this is how I'm incubating here. So, because that's also kind of the information you need to know. I was using for this project most of the time Borodo incubators, the Real and the Lumia. Before I had also Brincy, and before that I was also using some mid-range incubators, but that was just terrible. It was difficult to keep the constant temperature and humidity, and the hatch rate was very bad. So Borodo actually raised my hatch rate a lot, more than 40%. You can see I wrote it down also in your language, so you will understand Fahrenheit and Celsius. That's the range where I was testing. So in Celsius is 37.5 till 38.5, and in the Fahrenheit is 99.5 and 101.3 or 5. I was turning them and also I was not. The only thing where I've seen that the turning is important if you place your eggs pointy side down. If they are lying on a side, there's no need to turn them. But if they are pointy side down, you need to turn them a couple of times because I had 2 times very bad hatch rate. I by the after I've candled them on a day 4, both situation, I forgot to plug the cable, the turning cable, so that was pretty bad. About the humidity, I'm trying to keep condition between 10 and 45 percent. I usually don't go over 35. And in the lockdown, I go the same 45 or maximum 75, but I wouldn't go more than 60 because what's happening, and a lot of people don't understand the fact, when you buy the mid-range incubator, you get a manual how you should incubate, and that's wrong, because if you buy a good quality incubator, they will tell you the temperature, but I will never tell you humidity, because it differs in every country, and they don't want to be responsible for that. So what you need to do is, more humidity while incubation means that your egg needs to lose like 13 to 15% of weight during the incubation, and that's actually water. So if your humidity is too high, it can lose the weight. So there is still a lot of water, a lot of liquid, and what happens is when the chick makes an internal pip, it may go further and make an external pip. But what may happen, and usually you will see it and you will confirm what I'm saying, that a lot of chicks were fully evolved, but they didn't hatch, which means they were kind of like thrown in the water because it was it was too much water, it was too much humidity while incubation. That's why I don't recommend to go more than 45, but really 35 as a dry incubation, that's a go. And then during the lockdown, I see a couple of people are going above 80%, and it's also not good, because if you know that you have a good condition after your chick is hatched, between 4 and 6 hours must be dry. If it's not, then it means your humidity is too high and it's not correct. And I wouldn't be afraid about using low humidity, because I know breeders, they are going for dry methods up to the lockdown, and also during the lockdown they go with, let's say, 20%, and they have still the same hatch rate, because how is it in the nature? But I'm not going to speculate. I'm just saying you what I'm doing here. Not everything too much is healthy, and then also high humidity is causing curved fingers on the feet, and may have issue with the splayed legs as well. It's not only about what's on the bottom, if it's slippery or not, but if the chick is too long in the egg and is trying to find a way out, then the feet, the legs could be in a different direction for too long, and then it's a little bit difficult, for chick to walk. If you can go to another. Yes, that's. I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but that's a feed I'm using. On the left side is chick crumble for chicks, so that's 25% of protein. There is also the topic about it that you need to use 30%, 27. I spoke with a lot of breeders with my wet, and that's everything above 20% is perfect for chicks. Speaking of layer, that's actually a little bit lower with protein. I'm using just a chicken layer feed, and I've never had issues whatsoever. And I've compared, for those people that would like to know if that may be caused by the feed, I've compared many times hatching Celadon with my plane, and the plane had just better hatch rate, so it should not be with a feed. If you can go to another page, that's actually the supplement vitamins I'm adding for adults and for the chicks. I'm using it once a week for adults. That I'm just listening the instruction on the cover, and I'm using it from late fall to early spring, and then in the summer I don't use it. And for the chicks, that's actually helping them against coccidiosome. I don't know the correct name in English. And it's also helping them, to be fit and to everything start faster and proper. And I have to say that I don't see, I, I didn't have like problems, but it's good to think or to know that you're doing something that can help. But I don't know if that has an effect, but that's something what I'm using. It was advice from my vet. If you can go to another one. Yes, so here we go. That's where deformity started. So the first one is actually the fresh one that I had to call. That's from the last hatch, the Egyptian that I mentioned, that she ended up with Rhineck, but that's a little bit more than Rhineck. It was completely wrong. It was like a double Rhineck or whatever. And she was the only one with a rule, and that's what happened. I see that a lot of more deformities I see on Celadon that has rule, and that's it. I haven't tested blue. On the right side is my red ranch. It was one of the first when the deformities appeared, and you can see she this chick that's a hand, so she couldn't hold the head, or she could, but not for long. And then she went with a beak against the belly, and she was kind of like scratching, like it was, I don't know what was happening there, but I found her lying on a back, and it should not be caused with anything like a virus or bacteria or something, because my feed that I'm using is also kind of they added something, so you should not have health issues with chicks, because a turkey usually tend to have the issues, and I'm using actually turkey starter. If you can go to another one, that's the difference that I'm having now. So in the front is my Scarlet, so it's a Rue on Rosetta. She's a hen, and they are actually sisters, and they are both now they are 9 weeks old, so you can see the difference. So the other one is blue on homozygous sparkly Egyptian, and you can see she's smaller, and she's also the beak is a little bit shorter and wider and darker than other of my blues. And you can see the difference. She kind of stopped with evolution in week 4 or 5, and she is actually the first one from from the smallest that I've got that she's laying now eggs, which are very small. So you can see the difference clearly that there is something going on. You can go to another one. That's also one of the size difference. Also raw, but it's on a Tibetan in this situation, and on the left side is actually blue on my phone, and she is not the jumbo at all. She's just a normal size, so you can see compared to the red range, um, what's going on there. She's like 1/3 of size. She is very small. She's not laying eggs. I know it's a hen, and she can't keep a balance while walking or standing. She's using a tail to kind of keep a balance. So I'm just keeping them so I can show you for this project. If I can go to another one, that's also one of the deformities I was having, and this is actually blue on a pharaoh. And I've got a couple of roosters. This is a rooster, um, 2 weeks old, more than 2 weeks, and they had trouble to stand on a feet. They usually spend the rest of the day like this, so they were also walking like that. I haven't seen it on all of them. I haven't seen it on hens, and this is actually second generation when half of them should be Celadons. That's also something you should keep in mind with blue, that it may happen. If you can move to another one. So that's Scarlet Sparkly Rooster. He is also small. He is also the size that was the blue homozygous Egyptian Sparkly that was in a comparison, the first one. And he is he should be adult, but he's not. But you can see the deformity of the leg. I've got a couple of them, and I refuse to believe that there is something with my bedding, because I'm using as a bedding pine shaving, and I'm kind of using a thick layer, and I pushing them down with a palm in order to get solid floor, and it's not slippery, and there is nothing they should break their leg. So that's also what I was getting now with Row on Rosetta Celadon and Red Range. If you can move to another one. So here, if you take a closer look, you see the difference in the sizes. But if we go from left side, there is one dark one, extended brown, and behind you see only head. There is one chick. Um, I think it was Tibetan, and it was small. It was hidden. And if you go to the right corner, in the back, you see that there are two red range. They are also smaller, like half of the size of the others. If you go to another picture, you will see those three with a fresh hatched chick, so you can see the difference. And actually, the fresh hatched chicks were faster growing than those three, so they were faster, bigger, and were laying eggs than those three. So those three were still like 2, 3 weeks behind. So that's also what I've been seeing, and I've never seen such a thing on a plain quails. If you can move to another one. Now we go to egg section. This is from one hen. She got hurt from others, so I put her apart. And a day after, she started to lay egg. So you can see the first one, the first two looks like Celadon. So I was like, okay, she's Celadon. But then the third one, and then she will keep going. She was laying more and more speckled egg. So that was a hint when I was like, okay, something is going on. She's kind of losing the Celadon, maybe. I incubated that eggs. They were speckled, none of them were fertile. Yes, after I put her back to the group. And actually I was having issues also with the rooster from the group, and the rooster was probably unfertile because none of the eggs had the embryo in the incubator. If you can go to another one, you will see something completely different. The first egg of Celadon were so brown. So I was like, okay. But then I've seen on the pointy side, you can see that there was like almost blue. So I was like, hold on, there's something going on. And then I tried to kind of clean it, brush it or whatever to remove the speckles, the cover, but it was impossible to remove. And then the next day she laid dead egg, and then the day after normal blue egg. So that got me thinking that there must be something else going on with the Celadon gene, because you clearly can see that there is a speckle on them, but it's more cover than speckles. If you can move to another one. Yes, we are moving now to deformities. You can see those eggs, for example, how not nice they are. You can't see pointy sides. A couple of them are not properly closed. You will see also another picture. And what was happening, yeah, here exactly. So you can see that they are properly not closed. It looks like it was too much calcium or something, and you can just easily put it off, and you see the hole, and the egg will just leak out. And what was happening, because as a testing or a tester, I put them also in the incubator, and all of them were like fertile, and everything went fine till I come to the day between day 4 and 9, and all of them were just dead embryos. All the eggs with deformity. So actually, I couldn't hatch out anything from deformed egg, anything at all. So that's also the answer for some question. If somebody would like to know, I've never used something that was questionable to another breeding program. If you can go to another one. Yes, here is I don't know if you can see the first one is not like properly shaped. And the second one is weirdly shaped like a ball and a cracked. I'm getting now a lot of cracks, and it's not from the winter or from the cold because I'm getting them from late summer, so that should not be an issue. If you can go to another one, here you have some to compare how many deformities, how many different eggs you may get. You may get something completely different. I'm showing you. So you can see that the first one is when you like the ring is thicker. It's like so very thick. The second one, the pointy side is a little bit moved to the right side. The third one is cracked, and the fourth one is just another deformity. If you can go to another one, this is also interesting. What I've spotted, kind of like rings. So a lot of eggs from advanced generations, and these are particularly from my rule carriers. They are laying lighter eggs in the color, but the ring is like completely dark blue. Those eggs could be hatched. So I don't know if that's a deformity on a inner egg or is just some color defect or something. But there was no issue while incubating them. You can go to another one. Here you can see also what you can get. These are actually not polished, they are dry, and you can break them very easy. And those it's not worth to incubate either because the embryo will die very soon, probably from bacteria or other issues, because there is nothing protecting the embryo from the outside environment. You can go to another one. These are actually eggs from one hen. So you can see what one hen can lay and how not convenient they can be. So one is blue, another one is white, another one is a little bit with speckled. So there was like in repeat. So you actually don't know what to expect from a couple of birds. If you can move on to another one, that's also it has also some dark spots, the blue dark colored, but they are completely different like those with rings because those with rings were shiny, polished. These one are also dry. So what I wanted to try is to incubate those either. And if you move to another photo, you will see I've candled that there was 4th or 5th day. So you can see immediately there was a blood ring, and the crack it was from my finger because it was so fragile, like. And even the environment in the incubator was right, and there was no problem with other eggs. Those types with very soft shell had immediately blood ring, so no embryo evolving whatsoever. If you can go to another one, here are some other deformities. It's quite funny, and I also want to cry when I see it. You can see that something is not okay, and you can't even fix it because you're not getting proper amount of nice eggs, so maybe 2 normal eggs per week. So you can even incubate them, you can even test them. You can see the second one and then the first one in the bottom. I put them actually in the incubator. You will see it on the next shot. If you can move, I think they are there. No. Okay. I hope we didn't skip that, but there was a lot of deformities also from inside, a lot of bubbles. This is a comparison how a nice Celadon egg should look like. These eggs were from my first 2 generations, and before I started having problems. And you can see that they are nice, they are shiny, they are clean, no speckles, nothing, no dirt, whatever. And the pointy side is where it should be. If you can go to another one, okay, then it will be the next one. Here is also kind of the defects. I use as a background my plain eggs because I had one hen and she was laying completely white egg, like white. And the problem was also there was no polishing on them. It was like dry, but the shell was not soft. If you can move to another one, I think maybe we forgot one picture. You know that one with candler. There were four, and there were a lot of bubbles. Maybe we'll come to that. I don't know. Maybe you can then
Yeah, I don't
post it
know.
later. This is how it looks like, how testing looks like here. So, what I'm trying is to use one line or two, the section, the holders of the eggs as a project. So in one incubator, I can do three, four projects. I'm running now only two incubators, but I can fit four, five projects at the same time. So I would also like to tell to some breeders, don't feel so bad if you are in it a couple of months. You can still accomplish a lot in the first incubation because you can put a lot of project there. Just side note. If you can move to another one, there, okay, here they are. So these are eggs that I've candled after 4 days. All of them are with deformities, and you can see all of them are not just evolving the embryo in a good way. So the first one was bloodling, the another one was like the embryo probably died after 4 day, 4, 5, 6. The third one, there was a lot of bubbles. I was getting in couple of generation a lot of bubbles from my eggs that there is no way I was shaking them or storing in the wrong way. And the other one was I think that was after day 9 when I was candling because I'm candling 4, 9, 14. And you can see that that embryo also didn't make it. So however you try, the egg with deformity will never do it, at least from my experience. If you can move to another one. Here are also a couple of deformities. So the left one, I don't need to mention that you can incubate. And on the right one, that's also the fact that I was dealing here with. So that's maybe kind of the issue why my hatching rate went rapidly down because very 12 weeks, 14, such a long period of time, a lot of normal size eggs were still having two yolks. You can see compared to those two, they were normal 14 grams eggs. That looks almost identical in the size, just one egg yolk was split in two. So that's kind of the issue I was dealing also with Celadons. I couldn't incubate them properly because those two eggs. So maybe one embryo was evolving, maybe both, maybe one died, and then a bacteria touched the other one, and so on. And if you go to another one, that's actually, I think, the last slide. So it's up to you, and if you can use my information and add something, pass it to another one, other breeder, then maybe we can figure out what's this. I think after I spoke with so many breeders and my wet. We think that it can be recessive autosomal mutation. Autosomal means that it affects both hens and roosters, no matter what. Or it's an issue in recessive form, or it's a disease, or problem with absorbing nutritions, can be also. Because I know that a lot of Celadon breeders are having problem with soft shells. And the last one that can be causing ovaries issues and then forcing them somehow to not create a bloom to cover the speckles on its eggs. So that's up to you how you're gonna use those informations. I'm not forcing anyone. It's just what I was dealing here with 1.5 year, and I failed.
Okay, I think we got one more photo.
Oh yeah, that's the last edit. So that's actually one of the Scarlet hen from the last generation, and that's how it looks like when she refused to lay blue egg. And I can tell that there is something more going on because the speckles are very dark. I hatched a couple of speckled like this. darker and lighter. Also, when I was turning my phone into the Celadon, my Italians, and I've seen that the lighter speckles they are, more possible to for the chick carry a Celadon. If they are darker, the speckles, then you have more possibility to lose the Celadon gene at all. So it may not carry it at all, even it looks like that, because it will never look the same way if it lose Celadon, just because. And that's also what the Russian breeder mentioned.
Okay, Klaus, I did notice one question that I thought would be good to answer right now. It was down in their ways. Somebody wanted to know, is this just prevalent over there in the Netherlands, or are you seeing breeders in other locations that are having the same issues?
It's across the world. They're having the same issues. So it's not only here or in Europe, it's in England, it's in Asia, it's in America. I feel I know one woman in Africa as well. So Africa, she was dealing the same problems. So
Okay,
I don't think that's a Netherlands issue. That's all across the world.
okay, great. I just want to say too that me and Klaus have been talking behind the scenes. What we're thinking of doing is finding someone that can come on and talk about the Celadon gene and what you can do to prevent some of these issues that Klaus has been explaining tonight. So we'll get that straight and we'll make an announcement probably over on Facebook and let you know when that's coming in. So are you ready to jump into the questions, Klaus?
I will try.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in there. I'm not going to read every single comment, guys, because we're already 1 hour in, and I don't want to keep you here all night.
Yeah, sorry, it was a little bit difficult to cover it in a short time.
Yeah. No, that's no problem. I would rather have you cover everything, and then we will.
There is not actually everything. I had more, but I didn't want to have this video like 2, 3 hours. I think then everybody would be bored.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here for 2 or 3 hours.
I just want to mention that in this year for Celadon, I dedicated 1,197 eggs, and from them hatched 923. So I lost 274 eggs
And
for
how long have you
Celadon.
been doing this, Klaus? How long have you been trying to figure out what's going on with the Celadon gene?
Well, I had already half of the year the Celadons, and then I started this year to be like, okay, there must be something going on because it was not what was promised to me. So actually, since last year, December, I was constantly going on, and trying to figure out what was going on. So you can achieve a lot also in a short time, let's say.
Hmm.
You don't need 5, 10 years in order to figure out if that's something for you or not.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and jump on these questions. First one is from Katrina. She says, thanks, Klaus, for the tip about the clear lid on the feeder. I got a bigger container as I am switching up my feeder, and they've stayed off so far. Okay, so I guess you've been working with Katrina on a problem she's had.
No, it was when I was talking about from Chris that he created that no
Gotcha.
faced feeder,
Right.
But I just mentioned that it's good to do clear cover, the lid, because otherwise quail tend to just sit there and the poop and it's dirty. When you use clear one,
Right.
they're afraid to jump there.
Right. All right. Charlize. I probably said that wrong. I'm sorry if I did. We're having issues with eggs not hatching. Many chicks have splay legs. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I think that should be first. I would start with a high humidity. So if you can lower it while incubation, you should see the difference.
Okay. Pine Ridge or Pine Haven Ridge says, "How many celadons have you worked with, and for how long?"
Yeah, I think I've answered that already.
Yeah, you just did. Nick says, let's see if I can put it up there. Do celadons breed true, and what colors can carry the celadon gene? Thank you for everything you guys do to help us better understand how to raise quail as a hobby and for sustenance.
Well, Celadon is recessive autosomal gene, so if you want them to breed true, you need to have both copies in parents. So rooster needs to have two copies and hens as well. Then you will get 100% Celadons. Then you need to just go with a Punnett square if there is one copy in each, or none, or two unknown. So, for example, if your rooster has two copies and a hen is plain, then all of the offspring should be carrier and all those stuff. Um, so breed true, I don't know. That's difficult to say because I used to believe if you have homozygous, they breed true, but you see something is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question was about the mutations. Well, I see the extended brown is carrying it well. Some breeders are saying that the raw Egyptian is losing it after first generation. Mine are carrying it still after third. And there is one breeder that hatched out 15 generation, and she claimed that the tuxedos on extended brown and I think raw on them are carrying it the longest, and then after them pharaohs. And the rest of the mutation, she had silvers, she had Faltfi, she had English white, and those that they are losing it according to her, all of them between 6 to 9 generations.
Okay.
I can't I can't speak about it on her behalf because I am not able to confirm that to test it.
Gotcha.
So that's only what she said.
Perfect. Okay, Michael says this may be a stupid question, but I'm new. There's never a stupid question, Michael. If I start out with incubating and ordering, let's see, if I start out with incubating and order eggs, is it okay to breed a male and female from the same bunch, considering there's a chance they came from the same hen?
Hmm. Well, you will get, Michael, you will get a lot of answers from different breeders.
Right.
I usually don't do it. Some people are afraid of inbreeding and then it may cause side effect. It's not so super fast like with the chickens, but I don't do it. I'm doing it only if I'm trying to keep some color or to create more of something. Like if I have brother and sister and they are the only one nice shaped, nice color and nice behavior, then I'm crossing them. But then after that, I'm trying to cross it or with father or with something completely different. So it's always good to cross it to something not blood related.
Okay, Battleborn Ermine Farm says, how long would you let your shipped eggs rest before going into the incubator?
Well, my advice is if you know how old are they, if they are 3, 4 days old, then you can set them on a counter 24 hours. If you see that you are getting a lot of the same pattern, so you see like they may come from the same hens, then if you have an incubator where you can place them poeticine down, just place them in, turn the incubator on after you place them in so they don't get shocked and don't throw them 3 to 4 days in, and after that you can start turning. If you have something where you place them on the side, I would use some not cardboard, those paper covers, but the plastic because paper can hold some bacteria, plastic you can wash, and then just place them in the plastic, put it on the bottom, point the sign down, and that kind of help the issue. But that's a good question. But
Okay.
usually, if you know that the breeder is saying the truth and he says, okay, my eggs are 3 days, and you can, with no drama, no issue, leave them 24 hours just to rest. Pointy sides down always.
Right. Okay, Oliver says, seems a lot of issues regarding celadons have popped up recently. Have these issues always been there and were recently brought to light on a big scale, or is this something we accidentally bred? That's a good question.
Well, I think it's the result of not good inbreeding, like not in the professional way. The the problem is that's why there's a lot of drama about it because Celadon is good for a profit. You can earn with one egg as you can earn with five plain eggs, for example. So that's why a lot of people are a little bit scared of this controversial topic. Um, I think it was just bred in, and we keep in mind we still don't know what it is. If it's an issue, if it's the problem, if it's the mutation, whatever it is. Nobody tested it in this way in a lab or whatsoever because it costs money.
Hmm.
But yeah, what was the question? I forgot the rest. Can you show it one more time?
Basically, want to know if it was.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. So I created Italians, and Italians are not so popular. So
Mhm.
I was hoping that there may be something different, but they're not. It's still the
Okay.
same.
Okay. Battleborn Urban Farm says, I'm so interested in the Celadons. Even if I fail at raising them, I'll enjoy seeing the blue eggs. How do you get darker blue eggs?
I don't know. I was thinking if you cross brothers and sisters together, then maybe it can be lighter. But I don't know if there is a way to to make them darker or to make kind of effect or to control the color wise of the eggshell. I think that's just meant to be because I
Mm-hmm.
know that the Celadon is a range of color red, blue, and a green, and some of them could look like white. They could still be Celadon. So it should be like a range of colors, so not only blue.
Okay.
Uh,
Northwoods Quail
Meaning, I don't
says,
know.
oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's a good one. Northwoods
Mm,
Quail says, how many birds did you test when running this?
yeah, almost 1,000 this year. More, almost 1,200.
Okay. Another question. Where did you get your Celadons? Have you tried eggs from several breeders and then breed those together?
Yeah, I mentioned that in the introduction. I had actually five bloodlines, maybe four, because I'm not sure if those two that I was getting the same result were not from the same. They just shared maybe, but four. And then when I was crossing a different between each other, then you are actually creating kind of the new bloodline. So I I'm sure I didn't use something like that I was breeding more than once from the same bloodline.
Okay. Northwood Quail wants to know, did you weigh the birds each week? And what notes did you take? And what notes did the other breeders take when noting these issues?
Okay. I didn't check the weight because it would be too much because what I was doing is focusing on the color, on the shape of the body, on the big or on the size of the egg, on the color of of the egg and deformity. So I was busy with all those stuff. I didn't weigh them, but not all of them are like light in the color. Only the deformities that I showed that was popping out here and there. But they usually, when they cross 12 weeks, they looks like normal size, not too small. So that issue I'm not having.
Okay.
And what notes I'm keeping? Actually, everything. I have a couple of books. In one, I'm writing down everything about incubation, hatching rates, those stuff, what happened, what hatch out. Then I have one next to my brooders where I'm keeping tracks, what's happening, if something passed out, if something I see that, okay, this, I can tell already that's a rooster, that's this mutation. And then I have another one next to my setup where I'm keeping track of my eggs. And just if I see something happening, then I'm always writing it down.
Okay.
And also from that I'm usually doing once in the 3 months of half year. I'm counting how much did I put the eggs in the incubator, how much hatch out, and where I am.
All right. Linda says if you're breeding for egg color as with Celadons, does size matter? You mentioned you were getting smaller birds. Does that mean they will lay smaller eggs?
Well, not all of those with grow issues were laying eggs. So, but yes, if they do, they lay much smaller, like 10 grams or something. But the rest of my quails, they never lay something lighter than 12 grams. So usually I'm getting 14 grams. That's like standard, 13, 14. Some of them, my scarlet, they are laying 14, 15 grams.
Okay. Javana says, how big were your breeding groups or colonies for each color? And how big were the breeding flocks that you got your eggs from?
Well, it depends, or 1.5 or 1.6 or 1.10 or 12. I didn't go up to 12 because I think 10, between 10 and 12, that's amount of hens that a young rooster can handle. I have never had an issue with fertility, but after 6, 7 months, he's slowing a little bit down. He's not so active, so then I'm switching to 1.5, 1.6 if I have no replacements. But my flocks are not too big, so I can keep a better control and the tracks what I'm writing down, what I'm doing.
Okay. The
I and
second
I
half of
and
that
I
question was how big were the breeding flocks that you got the eggs from?
yeah, and I don't use more than one rooster per group
Okay.
because then I'm questioning myself. Oh, that offspring is from rooster A or rooster B, and I know that it's from that particular one.
Gotcha. Did you breed any lines that were not Celadon as a control group for comparison?
Yeah, I was having before I introduced the Celadon and transfer everything to Celadon. I had just a plain and I had very high hatching rate. And usually what I was doing when I was testing, you could see it also on the photo. So I had half plain, half Celadon in comparison. And with my plane, I've never had so many loss, like couple, really just a couple, maybe two, three, maximum five eggs, and the rest went to lockdown. The rest hatch out, maybe one, two didn't, but pretty higher hatch rate.
Mm-hmm.
What I've seen, after the second generation of the Celadon, the hatch rate went rapidly down and always lower, lower, lower it down. And when I crossed my Celadon to my Italians, the first generation was fine, no problem, not too much loss or whatever. But then when I crossed them back to the father in order to get Celadons, the true blue, that was a disaster. So that's where it started as well. So
Okay.
I think it has a massive impact on hatching rate.
Okay, here's a good question from Ava. Says, how long did you do this? Like, did you try once and then you were done, or did you try again? And how do you know it was the Celadon gene and not just the line?
Well, yeah, because I've tried practically a lot of different bloodlines, and I get to the point when I had like 6, 7 brooders, so I was testing a lot. And if I tested something once, that's not a test. I'm doing it two, three, 4 times, and then I know. So, like all incubations, I'm trying to test at least twice when I'm checking and testing some mutation and crossing it. I'm trying to do 3 generation also with Celadon in order to know if he's true blue.
Mm-hmm.
There are other information that he may not be, he may act like true blue, but he will lose it also later, so you should not use the same rooster more than 3 generations, but I haven't tested it. But yeah, people that know me, they know that one result is I need to check if that's the right, so I need to confirm, and then I need another confirmation that that's confirming.
Gotcha. Battleborn Urban Farm says, where did the Celadon gene come from?
Well, originally they came from German pastel, where the silver came, so they came somewhere from there, or from pastel or from silver. I don't know for sure. But people are saying they came from silver, so that's where the rumor started. There can be issue, not the gene, not the mutation.
Okay. You already answered this earlier, but Ava said, is this only in the Netherlands or where is this confirmed to be an issue? So it is
Yeah,
worldwide.
everywhere.
Okay, Michelle says, what is your program in breeding with inbreeding and outcrossing? Did you breed daughter to father or to inbreed, etc.? Can you explain?
I need to read it one more time. Yes, so but I've mentioned it already when I was crossing something in order to keep some color or something that I liked, then and I had to cross siblings, then I crossed them, but then offspring I didn't cross to none of them, but maybe I crossed it to grandfather or something completely something different. So I was always trying to not cross twice siblings or something that came from that because it's just what I don't do. And if I need to cross something out like aggression or bad behavior, I'm just picking the calmest, nicest, the friendliest, the birds, and then I'm making a flock from them, and then and I incubate their eggs, and then I look at the offspring, and I'm doing the same. But usually, you see the massive difference on the first generation. I actually bred out of the aggressivity from second generation, and then from third generation I don't have anything, no such a thing.
Okay.
Also, I bred out when you have sometimes the small chicks and they don't know what to do, so they're yelling couple of days. It was very difficult, but I bred out as well. So now when I have chicks, I didn't even, I thought they were dead. So many times I had to come there to check if they are alive. So many times I was like, oh my God, I need to feed you. I need to give you water. They're so quiet. So that's
Right.
definitely also you can do.
Okay. Michelle says that's very interesting about the humidity. I live in Arizona where there's 1% humidity here. Do you recommend low humidity or none during lockdown?
I wouldn't go lower than 10%. That's where I seen that most of the embryo were dying. So 10% is like the safe spot. So if you are gonna try to keep humidity, incubator between 10 and 40, 45, you're still in a good way. What you can do if you have like that you can add in one or in two places the water or something, and it will pump out the humidity on 50%. You can use maybe the small shot glasses, fill it with water, place it in the incubator, do warm water, not hot, not cold, and then check with the thermometer how high the humidity is. Usually people in an area where is such a low humidity outside, they are doing shot method. So shots, not with vodka, just with water, you place it in, and then
Mhm.
usually two, three, and you are fine.
Okay,
Just
now
you
that
need to,
10%, that 10% is during incubation. What about lockdown?
uh, you can leave it. I haven't tested it, but some people claiming that there is no difference.
Hmm.
But I'm going like 45 more. Usually I'm at 55 and I'm fine.
Right.
And that's crazy because 55 is where somebody is incubating it, so you can tell the difference. But what I want to mention is if you live in a dry, humid area, you need to watch out every morning, every evening if your water is not dry because it tends to dry out very fast.
Yep. Okay, Ava says, question 25% seems low. Did you try a higher protein? And does the blue color possibly need more protein? I think she's talking about feed.
Mm, no, that's what I can find. Never had an issue with that. I'm feeding the same feed, my Celadons and plain, so I don't see the difference. And I don't think the higher protein percentage is causing more darker egg, if that's what she meant.
Okay. Battleborn Urban Farm
Um,
says we bump our humidity up to about 70% at lockdown. At lockdown, what is too high?
well, too high is if you need to remember the fact that by hatching, your humidity go a little bit higher. So if you have 70, it may got 80, 85, 90. And at that humid area, it's difficult for chicks
Mhm.
to dry out. So you need to I think 70 is fine. If you can do lower 60, 60 is like you will do nothing but good for the chicks if you don't cross 60%.
Okay. Yusef says, can you cure Ryeneck?
Hmm. Well, a lot of people are saying that adding vitamin E in the water. I tried it, but I didn't see I didn't see any result, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
When I
even
see
keep
when
birds
I
with Ryeneck.
Exactly. That what I want to say. When I see deformity, I don't keep it. I don't try to cure it. And if,
Hmm.
like what I did with Berta, with a feed, I don't use them for my breeding program or whatever. They're like pets.
Right. Okay, here's another one about Ryeneck. Says, doesn't low humidity cause Ryeneck? Your one screen said only 10 to 35%. Did you try adapting it? Is blue a different consistency material since it's a different color?
Well, I tried a lot of other ways of incubation. So I can say that you're gonna have more troubles if you're gonna use higher humidity. This is just what I was having issues with a particular Celadon, not with a plain X Quells. So I don't think that's my incubating skills problem. Uh, that incubation, the dry incubation, that's what I've tried, and I was getting much higher hatch rates, much higher results. The chicks were in a couple of hours walking, drinking, eating. And when I was using higher humidity while incubating, I've seen that it took 1 or 2 days till they were like walking and living and eating. So there is something different in that way. They look more alive when you try dry incubation. You need to try it and then you will see the difference.
Hmm. Yeah, I do a dry hatch. I don't use any water during incubation, and then I only bump it up to about 65% during lockdown. So,
Yeah, and
Yusuf
you're
wants to know where you're
fine.
from.
I'm from Netherlands. Well, originally I'm from Slovakia, but I moved to Netherlands.
Yeah. Ava wants to know, are those the same age? One is feathered and one is not. And that was that picture that you had where you had the larger birds and then a bunch of chicks with it.
Yeah, no, they are both. Wait, is she talking about chicks or about the adults?
It was the picture where they were, I believe it was, hold on, I'll bring them up real quick. Let's see here. I think it was that one right there.
Hmm. No, these are not the same age.
Okay.
But those three, they were a little bit behind the grow with others, so they were too slow and they were a little bit bullied. So I placed them with freshly hatched chicks.
Okay.
But the freshly hatched, they outgrow those three very fast.
Good. Um, doesn't make sense. Let's see. Jessica says, "Do Celadon breeders in the USA have the same issues? Is the same Celadon gene in quail in the U.S. and Europe? Is it the same
I
gene?"
think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I
You
think.
may,
Go ahead.
it may be different because when 100,000 people are breeding in a different way, then maybe they're no more blood related. But I think the source is the only one. And I think the US breeders are having the same problems. That's why a lot of them just stopped breeding Celadon or at least 100% Celadon because when they went, let's say, above 50, 60%, they were starting having issues.
Okay. Um, William Carl Foster says that the Celadon originally originated from the University of British Columbia. So, if that helps anybody,
So we'll see, we are learning every day something.
excellent. Excellent. Yeah, whatever. Ava says, talking about the eggs, are those from one hen? I thought they laid the same pattern their whole life. Those are different patterns, or is that part of the issue?
Yeah, if you have a plain hens, they lay the same pattern. They may get sometimes darker if weather is changing or whatever, but speaking of Celadon, I see that those rules don't apply there. It can be completely something different yesterday than it was day before yesterday, and tomorrow something completely else.
Hmm.
So I don't think that those rules are the same for Celadons.
Okay. Nice cut, by the way. Michelle says, in your breeding program, do you pair off to see which eggs hatch with defects? Then do you pull the female and try another? And if it happens again, do you call the male?
Yeah. Um, I don't call Mel unless he's, I don't know if I can say, but unless he's not friendly to my hands. So if he likes to make a lot, or he is loud, or if he's aggressive, arrogant to them, then I'm calling them, but I don't have the issues anymore. If I see the hen that, if I see the deformity on X, then I'm dividing the group. I'm trying to do something, to think about something creative,
Hmm.
boxes or whatever, like for one day to see till they lay egg, which one is it? But what I've seen is that one day the egg can be deformed, another day you won't see such a thing. So that's also something I don't know what's causing it, but they don't lay every day like the same deformity. It can be also different deformity.
Hmm.
It can be soft shell, thick shell, cracked, not pointy, at the pointy side close, and it can be also nice egg. It can be no egg at all. So it's difficult to actually choose, you know. And it's also that's why I'm stopping with a Celadon because you're not sure if the egg that it's nice and you think okay, it's a good shape, you can incubate, you don't know if it's actually healthy because that hen may the next day lay deformed egg. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why I don't want to invest time and money for something that doesn't fit me or suit me.
Right. Yeah, and if it was, if it wasn't just you that's having the problem, but you're seeing this problem worldwide, so,
Yeah.
there's
And
got
I
to be
mean, you
something
can see
there.
it every day that the people are posting, asking, commenting. It's
Yep.
literally everywhere.
Yep. MG, what is the minimum and maximum egg weight you would pick to incubate on jumbo wild eggs?
Well, I had jumbos years ago, and I didn't put anything in the incubator that was lighter than 14 grams. So 14, 15, 16. After 16, I would use a strong candler because 17 grams eggs usually used to have double yolks. It's not the rule, but it may happen.
Okay. Quick shout out to my brother-in-law Maury. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
Klaus, is there a Facebook group to talk about celadons?
There is one, I don't know who created it, but I haven't I haven't seen or found topic that was like helpful. That was
Hmm.
like posting the location and then they have a eggs, or they didn't ask, they were just posting what they hatched and which mutation they have. But I think you can look on a Facebook, Celadon breeders.
Right.
Probably there will be like in the US, in the UK, in the Europe, and you can try to look for some informations. That's why we are doing this, because it's difficult to find everything that I've showed you somewhere,
Sure.
because I know about those things, but people are afraid to show it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yep. Okay, Katrina says it was my understanding that Celadon eggs have very few markings. What causes the markings on the eggs? I know regular eggs, when they lay one without markings, people just say they are out of ink. I've seen that too, Katrina.
Hmm. Well, if you have like a normal blue egg, that's how the Celadon egg should look like. You may have some people think that the speckles are also the dirt. I think it looks like dark pieces of calcium or whatever. You can just scrub it down with your fingers. Those are no speckles. But if you have like speckles that I've showed and you see that they are in the shell, that you can
Hmm.
just put it off, then it means that most likely that hen is carrier. And then it means that if you're getting more of those eggs, then your rooster is probably just carrier. Or depends on which generation, which mutation. Maybe they are also struggling to carry the Celadon gene.
Okay. Okay, Kelly says, how long have you been breeding quail in general, not just Celadon, but any quail? When did you start?
Um, 8 years. I was busy almost 6 years with a jumbo when I was younger, and now I started 2 years ago. So I'm almost, yeah. In October that was 2 years.
Okay. James says, I've got Celadon eggs before and all were blue eggs, but when they started laying, some were blue and some were regular. Can you explain this? Explain, please.
Yeah, I don't think they were regular. I think they were carriers.
Okay.
Because you can't have half blue, half regular. It means what I said just now, that the rooster that Salah was using was not 100% Celadon, so he had no two copies but one. So if he was crossed with blue lane X hands, so you've got Celadons and you've got carriers. You should get more Celadons than speckled.
Okay. Let's see. Big 007. I don't even know how to pronounce the first part of your name. Sorry about that. How many generations would you breed Celadon before basically guaranteeing true blue?
Well, I would say 3 generations. That's the way to go. Speaking of mutation and of checking, because you need to cross it with hen that's lay blue egg, check
Mm-hmm.
their offspring, and then cross one of the hens to the father, check their offspring, and then do it again. And then if all of them are laying blue eggs, then you're fine. Then you know that you can use your rooster for practically whatever.
Okay. The
That's
second
how that's
half of
how I
his
tested.
question.
That's
Second
how
half
I
of his
tested
question is,
all
what
my
breeding
ferals.
program do you suggest?
To breed those generation. I don't understand.
What breeding program? I think you
Mm.
already explained it in your first answer.
Oh, you mean
Okay.
you mean like breeding generations?
Yeah, he says, what breeding program do you suggest to breed those generations? I don't know if he's
Oh
talking about
yeah,
line
okay.
breeding, spiral breeding, or what.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just try not to breed the same bloodline too much or 2 times after.
Okay. Every day old mommy says, I have Let's see. I have just a few Celadons, and one young hen has dry greenish blue eggs. Thank you for sharing these photos and your experiences. Okay, I thought that was a question.
Yeah, you're welcome, definitely.
Big 007 says, have you been able to breed certain colors or sizes like jumbos or scarlet?
Yes, I put everything raw on everything. I was busy with blue. I tried fee. I put sparkly on everything. All of them were Celadon. So from mutation, I had Egyptian. There's sparkly. Pharaoh. There's sparkly. Also in homozygous form. Extended brown Rosetta. Tibetan. Raw on them. Scarlet. Red range. Now Italians. Blue on them. So I tried, but none of them seems like they want to cooperate with me. I don't know. Maybe that thing is just not for me, huh?
Could be.
May-
You bad luck. And the second part of this question is, should I breed for egg size after getting our bloodline laying true?
I would do it together at the same time. I would merge those two projects. So focus on blue color and
Mhm.
don't incubate small eggs. And then you don't, because by neglecting the exercise, you will come back later and you will be the same period of time you're gonna invest just to create a bigger egg. So just merge those projects together.
Okay, good advice. S.O. Swanson says, I understand that Celadon eggs were standard quail, not jumbos. Are you saying you were breeding jumbo Celadons?
Yeah, you can have jumbo practically every mutation, also Celadon. It's the type of weight, it's not the mutation or something.
Right.
It's just selecting breeding for high birds and then doing it generation after generation until you are there.
Okay. Michelle Colley says, Klaus, do you have a Facebook page?
I don't. I don't have a business website, but I have private with the same name, Paradise Quail. So if anybody wants to ask, feel free to send a friendship. We can share. I
Okay,
like to see also some other experiences. You can ask, feel free to ask. I don't bite. If I can help and answer, I will try.
perfect. Ava says, did you have any good birds, or are you only sharing the bad, or are they all bad?
I had some goods, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get out some more generations. It was just while I was selecting, I was dealing with a lot of troubles, problems, and there was a very low percentage of healthies, but you don't know if they are healthy. Visually, they may be, but you don't know. Usually, what was happening when visually was healthy, they were healthy, then there was some defect on the egg. And if the egg was fine, then there was some deformity on the body. So there was one way or another.
Right. All right, Northwoods Quail says, what size were your breeding sets? Did you have multiples for each color? If you bred with just one rooster, did you think it might be the rooster that was passing on the bad genes?
I don't think so because I used a couple of roosters and I was using them to cross some other mutations. So I don't think that there was inbreeding, and I don't think that they were causing the problem because in all of them, not blood related, I see that the first one, two, sometimes three generation, I didn't see anything. So logically, it was starting to see to appearing on every mutation, every project after third generation, somewhere second. So I wouldn't blame a rooster. I would blame rooster maybe with fertility that I tried once. I replaced with some younger and that was the same.
Okay. James says, can you feed an 18% protein instead of 28?
Chicks not because for a proper grow, chicks needs up to five, six, or somebody say till the first egg 22% and higher protein. But for layers, you can use it. You can use a 16% protein. I'm using a 15.7, almost 16 chicken feet. No problem. Just watch out for a calcium that is not too high or too low.
Okay. Colorado Coturnix says late to the show. True blue eggs in the incubator now. Fingers crossed. Celadons teach pacing. Yep. Can you get a deeper blue by breeding hens that lay a deeper blue egg?
Have to be honest, never tried it. It was not my intention because they were from the beginning I had the same color on the shells, but then I my problem was that they went completely like almost to yellow to white,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started to deal with some other problems, so I didn't. It was impossible to focus on five things at the same time.
Right. And I think I had Perry Schofield on here about a year and a half ago, I think it was, and that same question came up, and he said that he does choose his hens and roosters for egg colors or his hens for egg colors, and that he's been able to get them almost a robin's egg blue. So, maybe it
Hmm.
is, something that you can breed for. Ava Fisher says, does Southwest Game Birds sell Celadon? I believe they do. And are theirs okay? And how do you supposed to know which ones are okay? Good one for you.
Well, I don't want I don't want to speak on others' behalf, but I know that they are calling very hard on everything they don't like. So I
Hmm.
think you will get just the great material and only high quality, I think.
Yep.
And they are not that kind of business that will sell you anything, just to fill the place in a box. And then the
Right.
second part of the question was, I don't know, I forgot.
How do you know? How are you supposed to know which ones are okay? Which breeders are okay?
Well, by hatching them, and then you will see on the offspring, you will
And you,
see if there's some,
but you said this problem mostly comes further generations. It's not necessarily the first generation.
yeah, yeah,
So you're gonna have
maybe
to breed
she's
them for a
gonna
while.
see nothing. Yeah. So, you need to hatch it, and then you will see if everything is okay. Then you are dealing with nothing, and then you will see if you are gonna use those birds crossed with something else. If I were you, I would order two different bloodlines so you can test them. You can then cross the generation together, so you're not gonna breed brother and sister. Because if some people think that if you are breeding siblings and you're getting different mutations, that's a different bloodline, but it's not. It's the same,
Mm-hmm.
maybe partly different, but it's the same. So later you may cause yourself some problems. But by testing and hatching and just keeping an eye on the birds, what they are laying, that's the only way. Because
Right.
you can't see in a bird until you do what you do later, or you can't see in an egg, because once you open an egg, you can incubate it. So you just need to wait and see.
Okay. I'm going to
And the
kind of add on to that
pacing,
question. Um,
the
how do you know that it's the Celadon gene causing the problem and it's not some other genetic, defect?
I don't know for sure, right? It's not a statement, it's just sharing experiences.
Right.
It's just I've crossed so many generations from other, also a couple of years ago when there was no such a thing like a group for quails.
Yep.
And I've never had such issues on the plain uh, quails with plain eggs, only on Celadon.
Okay.
And then I made myself couple of sure when I was turning my phone to Celadon because the hatch rate, actually I have it here. The first cross to get the carrier from 32x, 31 hatched. But in the second generation, when I cross those carriers to the father to get the true blue, from 96 hatched 72. So you can see the difference. It
Right.
was,
It's dropping down. Yep.
yeah.
Okay, what the Quail Farm says, is it possible to detect the Celadon gene by having a blood test?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I sucked by biology, so I have no idea what they can
Right.
figure out or not. But my quails are vaccinated, and they've been tested, and we didn't see anything like suspicious. So I don't know. I think I don't know how does it work, but probably you will need some advanced lab tests that cost money a lot.
Okay. Let's see. Uh, Quentin says if one egg is pointed and the other one is more round, does that define a male or female? No.
No, 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 no. But when I was younger, I did tests, but it was on the chickens because you want to try everything. You want to be
Sure.
before
Yep.
as a growing out person. You want to be something that creates some first as first. You want to be the first one that created something.
Yep.
But
I
that's
hear you.
just that's nonsense. And here as well because all of my quills are laying pointy sides, like pointy eggs. So then it
Right.
means I should get only roosters, right?
Put yourself
Thanks
out of
God, not.
business.
Yeah.
William Carl Foster says, curious where you sourced your first Celadons. Where'd you get your first Celadons at?
They were here from Netherlands, from one breeder. Um, he's a good breeder. I know information about him. He never crossed something like just for a profit. So he's taking care of the birds. They are nice, clean. I've seen. So my first were from him. I don't know where he does or where
Okay.
he did get those birds from. That's not my business to ask. And then those two were from other countries, not gonna mention
Okay.
because I don't want to shade anyone. And
Right.
then Britain and Russia.
Okay. Let's see. Question. So this is from Michelle. So a carrier will have eggs that are speckled with blue insides, and true Celadons will be blue eggs with light speckles. Both questions.
Um, the inner color of shells doesn't matter because it just doesn't. I've got couple of eggs that were like they looked like a plain speckled, not the Celadon, but I've seen on them that the background was a little bit greenish, bluish, so I knew that okay, you are also a Celadon carrier. And the other one were with teeny tiny speckles, but more I've learned, more speckles you see, more likely you can lose the gene.
Okay. Let's see.
Actually, a couple of advanced breeder were trying to create Celadon from inner green color, the shell, but there were no success. So,
Okay. Lorenzo says, I have one hen laying Celadon. Can I build a Celadon flock from the eggs of that one hen?
yes, you can. If you cross your rooster with her, it will be difficult because with a hen, you can tell which hen is a Celadon because she's laying egg. You can tell
Right.
it. But with a rooster, it's difficult, so you will have to then test your rooster. If you cross your rooster over your hen and the rooster is plain, you should get almost all of them as a carrier, if I'm not mistaken. And then you will have to take one, two, or three and then test all of them separately with that hen. And then offspring and then offspring because they are carriers, and you just what you will have to do is to cross that with a carrier, the from the first generation, your rooster that is going to be carrier over your blue lane hen, and then from them you need to start testing because from them, couple of them, I don't know, 25, 50% are going to be true blue. Then half of the half are going to be carrier, and the rest are going to be plain. So that's it can be done, but it's for a long, long way, the project, because
Right.
that's in a rooster, and if you are creating him, if you are suspecting that he came from Celadon, it's faster to check, to test if he is a Celadon rooster. But if you are creating non-rooster over your blue egg laying hen, and that's how you want to create the rooster Celadon, it can take 1 year of testing.
Okay.
So I think it's easier to start with eggs from somebody who will sell you blue eggs and just use that rooster. It will be you're gonna avoid so much trauma and issues.
And headaches. Yep. Okay.
Hmm.
Go Big 007. He actually showed me how to pronounce his name. Thank you, sir. My eggs are averaging 14 grams. What size should I be shooting for?
I think 14 grams are perfect.
Yep. Michael Perry says, "What are some pointers for us newbies, like maybe lessons learned? You got any? You got
Lesson
any
learned.
lessons that you learned the hard way?"
Uh, always have a backup. Always, always. I was so happy that everything was working well with blue Celadons that I was butchering my plane by plane, when I was done. And then actually now I have only 5 hens. They are not Celadon, and I had to order from 2 breeders again the eggs, and I need to start all over again. They're not Celadon, they are plain. So I
Mhm.
need to breed them out, cross them to something else, and then clean everything Resosil, every dotted white, and I'm practically after 1.5 year of project on a zero. So that's my lesson.
I hear you.
Don't use everything to your Celadon. If you're gonna convert everything to Celadon or something, if you don't have space, keep at least something stock that you can recreate as your backup if your Celadon is going to fail.
Okay. Uh, Ava's a little bit confused here. Let me put that back up. She said, "So you admit that heavy culling can result in healthy celadons. You are saying two things." She's confused.
Yeah, they can or they cannot. Huh? Like you can, yeah, she's probably talking about the game birds, huh? The Michael, how he's calling hard the Saladons.
Hmm.
Yes, but I don't wanna mention anybody because can drag a shade. But
Yep.
even if I was here calling like hard, like when I see something, it was cold. I was still getting from that healthy one based on the body or a shape of the color. I was still getting some weirdo. So maybe you can minimalize the number of the deformities. Maybe not. I don't know. I was just not successful with that.
Yep.
And I've never
Okay.
used anything that was like that I was suspicious about, like, shall
Right.
I use it or not? If I was not sure, I didn't.
Right. All right. Jasmine says, "Do you think since finding these anomalies slash defects in celadon carriers that any universities will assist in researching underlying health or genetic issues, working with breeders globally to better them?"
Well, I think that's a good question.
Hmm.
Um, but it's gonna take a lot of time, and most of us are full-time workers. We have some other things to do. And what it is going to ask for is 200, 300, 600 birds in order to test. In some university, they can get some grant or whatever from a country. I think it can be done, but I don't know if that's something that those universities could earn something on a result, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yep. Okay, Ava says this is in regards to her earlier question. Then what makes Southwest game birds different? How do they have healthy lines? I don't get it. Then where is Southwest getting theirs from?
Yeah, this is exactly what I didn't want to mention anyone. Well,
Yep.
I was talking about deformities, that they never use anything that's like deform or something.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you should be fine what you order, you will get. You should not get anything like strange, weird, or whatsoever. And I was more referring about selecting breeding, that they don't take whatever they take just to fill the cage and then fill the place in the box and just to sell eggs. So I can't tell what you are going to take from anybody because I've never had those eggs. I can even tell what you're gonna get from mine if I would share with you.
Right.
That's
Uh,
how unpredictable they are.
right. And she wants to know where you can get good ones. The only problem I think you're going to run into, Ava, is you may get eggs and they hatch out and they're perfectly fine for 1 or 2 generations. But what Klaus is trying to explain is as the generations go on, is where you start seeing more defects and issues like that. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a shot in the dark, really.
yeah, exactly. It's a question where you can give an answer but cause in five another questions. So it's never ending story, to answer these kind of questions.
Right.
I mean, my advice is you need to don't order 100 or to order like 50, 60 eggs, hatch them out, and then you will see on your own or eyes if they are fine or not, and then you will know what for a breeder who is.
Okay. Jasmine says when comparing notes with others experience similar problems with the Celadon gene. Did you note nutritional and environmental factors, habitats, breeder set ratios? It's so interesting. I have lots of questions.
You can always send me the private message if you have a lot of questions. Um, I don't know how I can check if they had some nutrition problems or absorbing them. I just can't. I can just assume that they can be kind of the problem. Um, I was keeping them on the wire cages. I was keeping them, now I'm keeping them on a bedding before as well. And I haven't seen the difference on the behavior, on the quality or something. I was seeing it only generation by generation. Also, I didn't see difference. I'm giving them the same water, the same supplements, the same feed. Everything is the same light. Everybody is getting the same attention. So I'm not making any differences. So I don't think that that could be also a problem. I think that can be what it can be. That's a good
Yep,
question, huh? So I have
exactly.
a question for her question.
All right. Kelly says when changing roosters to check for the Celadon gene, how long do you leave each rooster with the hen before hatching the eggs?
I'm waiting 2 weeks, sometimes three. It depends. If there were only hens with no rooster for a couple of weeks, I'll wait 2 weeks. But if there were a rooster, I'm waiting 3 weeks, so I'm sure that he's not going to be father of the offspring, but the new one is going to be.
Let's see. Northwoods Quail says you did not answer the question though. How many breeding sets did you have when you did this?
I think he mean groups, right?
I think so. Yeah, breeding sets. Yeah. How many different groups did you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12. And how many different bloodlines?
5. Nah,
Okay.
ish. 3 for
5-ish.
sure.
Okay. Uh, Kelly says, interesting, but I have so many questions too. Also, this has been an entertaining evening. If you could go back and change anything about the last few weeks since you were announced as a speaker, would you?
No. I mean, I'm standing behind everything I've said and I'm about to say because what
Hmm.
I do, I usually am talking about what I've witnessed, what I tried, what I checked, what I've tested. And usually I have also my group from for other speaking people in a different language, and they know that I never give them some information until I check them once, twice, three times. So
All right. Yeah, and I
usually
don't
I don't go
think,
public with information that I'm not sure, and if I'm not sure, I'm always say like I'm not sure, I've heard, I've seen, that's not from me.
yeah, and I don't think it was an issue with anything that was changed. Um, and Kelly, I really don't want to, draw this up again, but some people just didn't want to wait. They come out and said, "No, my stuff is fine. There's something wrong," insinuating that Klaus and some other people were doing something wrong because they weren't getting healthy Celadons, and that's not what we were trying to get across to you guys. But anyhow, what's done is done. Okay. I missed a question. I thought it was kind of funny, but where'd it go? Where'd it go? MG Toe Shorts says, can Coturnix eat green leaves like cannabis sativa? I'm serious.
I have no idea.
Just as long as they got some munchies.
I have no
Okay.
idea. Greens they can, but that
I don't know.
particular
I don't
plant,
know
no.
anything about cannabis. Never heard of it. Let's see. I don't see any more questions yet. Let me get down here a little bit further. We are, oh wow, it's already 9 o'clock. So um, we're going to take one more question from Michelle, and then I'm going to pull the plug on it because it's getting late. And Klaus is what, 3 o'clock in the morning there where you're at? Yeah,
But I'm fine.
yeah, I know, but I don't want to keep you up all night. Okay, Michelle says, so you only inbred 2 generations, then bred out with birds from another breeder for 2 generations. Is that what you suggest?
Well, is she speaking about creating Celadon or testing
Yeah, I think she's
Celadon
talking
or
about
just in
keeping
general?
the generations healthy, breed 2 generations, then breed out with another breeder for 2 generations
Um,
to keep the line
well,
healthy.
I was actually crossing siblings or yeah, siblings when I wanted to recreate something more. Like let's say you have one extended brown and you have a father that is pharaoh, you have nothing else, so you cross them in order to get from both more, right?
Hmm.
But then I don't think that inbreeding is an issue till you go somewhere like far away. Maybe in a I would be more careful in a Celadon particularly because there you can just mess with up everything with just one teeny tiny uh mistake. But I don't think that you are gonna get yourself in a trouble if you're gonna inbreed couple of generation after generation from your plane. If you're gonna get some cross bigs, then you know that you need to introduce new rooster. That's what I should say. But speaking of Celadon, I would be careful what you are crossing with what. And if you are gonna introduce new rooster, do not butcher or remove the old one. Wait till you check what the new one is going to produce, and then because
Okay.
you may not be satisfied with the new one, and then you will need the old one, and the old one from freezer is difficult to use.
All right. All right. That's it for the question, guys. We're going to go ahead and pull the plug on this one. I do want to thank everyone that asked the questions tonight. Thanks for being respectful of our guest. I don't see any reason why this topic can't be discussed civilly, whether you agree with it or not. I need to announce our winners. Michelle Colley, you are getting the Coturnix Corner Live coffee cup. And Oliver Cole, if you're still here, you're getting a $50 gift certificate from Hatching Time. So if both of you guys would contact me at terry@coturnixcorner.com or over on Facebook, Michelle, I need your shipping information. And Oliver, all I need from you is an email address for them to send your gift certificate to. So again, I want to thank you guys for all the great questions. Klaus, thanks so much, man, for staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning to do this.
You're welcome.
I know you came into this thinking that it was going to be a little more than it was, and I'm glad that it worked out. You know.
I was
So
happy to do it to help maybe some other breeders that may facing the same problem. So
sure. And I'm really interested to see where this goes. You know, maybe some other breeders that have been having the same issues, you know, are going to come out and talk about what they've been having, how they've taken care of the problem. And like I said earlier, we're going to try to get somebody on here that can talk about how to get the Celadon gene to breed without having any issues. I'll discuss that with Klaus, and we'll decide who we can, you know, ask to come on, and we'll take it from there. So, winners, thank you for your questions. Everybody else, thank you for questions. I don't know who I'm going to have next week. I've got some people that I've got to do some test streams with this week. And if I can get a live scheduled for next week, I will. If not, I'll be taking a week off and might be going sailing. So, guys, thanks a lot. Have a good night, and check Facebook to see what's going on next week.